Well, here we go with another update, and a few things have happened. Um, Kind of a lot of little stuff that's all added up more than anything else. We are still mostly in bare metal. We have not gotten onto the primer phase yet, but I'm hoping if we get a few things figured out in the next video, we will at least be starting the primer process. I got my fingers crossed on that. That's kind of a goal. Um, but we've gone through and cleaned things up in the trunk a little bit more. Got a lot of this scuffed up, ready for rust encapsulator is what this is all going to get, as well as, most of the car is probably very likely going to end up getting that as kind of a base primer layer, especially areas like this where we get it clean, but there's still little specks of that kind of embedded surface rust, because that will go in and kill it and clean it and make it a nice solid surface to work with again, which is what we want. So that being said, as far as welding goes, we are almost done. I thought we were done, but we are not quite done. We went through and welded in a piece here to mimic the shape that we have over here, and that turned out pretty good. This area is going to need a little bit of filler work, a little bit of just smoothing out, but that's pretty much it. We have one more little patch to do back here. It's dark. Yeah, right there. One more little spot to fix there, and then we are done in the trunk. So again, I want to go over this filler panel again. I talked about it in the last video. I will go over it briefly again for those of you that didn't see that. This panel got replaced. This was a lot of work, especially for the size of panel that it was. To review, it goes from that side to that side between the quarters. And this is a really nice AMD panel, but it was 1/8 of an inch too long. So we ended up cutting the ends off, basically closing the gap between the two pieces and then welding it back together on both sides just to compensate the excess length. And then this middle was about a 1/4 inch, maybe not quite that much too high, so we actually had to have it down kind of on the ground and press down and actually kind of gently bend it down, as opposed to where it was kind of risen up in the center. Also, these corners, and I got a little more a little more grinding to do here. This corner needed to be cut here and opened up, because this is the way it should be. It was much more of a flat angle and did not fit the contour of the quarter channel very well. Same thing on this side, but not quite as drastic. So that's what we had to do with that. It's funny, I've actually seen a few people online recently talk about this panel, which is just interesting because I just went through it and I know what some people have been talking about online on some Facebook groups, saying they're having a hard time with it. Also, not sure if this was done in the last video or not, but this corner has been replaced. It's been replaced. AMD makes a corner patch panel, and I thought that we could get away on this one without needing it, but this one got replaced as well. So same thing, both sides, basically the whole bottom of the window has been replaced. So that's good. And then a couple little patch up there. There was a little hole where, water and dirt, dust, and whatever else had settled in there. So moving on beyond the back window, a little bit more body work going on with the quarter panel. Starting to get this lower line here in shape pretty good. It needs more work. Also needs some more work on the top. And then we'll be laying down some primer, running some guide coat, block sanding, and you guys get the rest. Door jamb, I've been working a little bit. For those of you that saw this car in the beginning, maybe you remember, maybe you don't, but this door jamb, especially in the corner, was kicked in pretty hard. I pulled it most of the way back out and got it actually very close. A lot of this is going to end up getting sanded right back off. None of that's been sanded yet, but we just need to straighten up that kind of up and down profile as best we can. Same thing with this. This area here was kicked in probably over 1/2 inch. And I got in there with a stud gun and some hammer and dolly work and got it, as you can see, it's actually very, very straight there. So that turned out very good. A little bit of filler there. Again, none of that's been sanded, so looks are a little deceiving on that. So we're moving along with cleaning out the interior as well. And in that process, we've, as I mentioned last time, we removed the dash frame, we removed the heater box is now out of the way. And a new development we have is we found more rust. So not a super big deal, but definitely kind of a pain in the butt because we had just got done with all the back window stuff. And I thought, all right, well, one little patch in that corner of the trunk and we're done with welding. Well, nope, not quite. Spent $100 and something on a panel that should show up hopefully later this week, and we should be able to get that in next weekend. Not 100% sure if we're gonna pull the whole thing out or if we're just gonna kind of maybe go over here, down, and over. Yeah, still not 100% sure on that. We'll kind of cross that bridge once we get there, as they say. So definitely looking forward to that and being able to put the welder down. So that'll be nice. Moving forward, not a lot going on with the engine bay. Everything's mostly same as it was. The only kind of major progress is I took all of this stuff off, the wiper motor off, and a lot of the heater box stuff off, so then we can further strip the rest of that. So that's all stripped. Got a little bit of stuff around the edges to do still, with wire wheels or the die grinder or whatever we see fit. And then sometime in the next couple weeks, going to get the front end on jack stands, drop the suspension out, and then we can clean the rest of the frame rail here. And this one's already pretty clean, but get the last little finishing touches and start laying down some primer. Kind of same thing with the underside or outside, I guess I should say. Same sort of thing. Once that suspension's out of the way, we'll be able to progress there a little bit. So moving over here, not anything else really new. There is, or was, I should say, a pretty nice size crease dent in that rocker. I'll see if I can get the camera down there to take a look at that. Yeah, you can see it. I pulled a lot of that out. It was pretty deep. Got it out with a stud gun and a puller. It probably needs a little bit more work, but it's actually very nice. The camera doesn't really do it justice. It makes it look worse than it is with the metal all being shiny. It's kind of reflective. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. And then also kind of moving back to the interior, we got the inside of the roof cleaned up a little bit, went across it with a wire wheel and Scotch-Brite and got it cleaned up. Again, another area we will do the rust encapsulator and seal up that surface rust, and that'll be a nice thing to get done. So yeah, in the next coming weeks, we're trying to hopefully, pending weather conditions and a few other things, get this car in primer. I say pending weather, although we do have a nice shop. It is a lot more reasonable to heat a shop up to 70, 75 degrees when it's 40 degrees outside rather than when it's -10 outside like it is as I'm filming this. So next weekend is looking potentially good for that. We will see what happens. But yeah, we're looking forward to nicer weather to get through and get some primer laid out on this. Then we can move on and do a few little bodywork things in the engine bay and the interior and the trunk, and start laying out some blue in the door jambs and all the jambs of the car. So very much looking forward to that. That's going to be very, very motivational. So, but other little side notes of things going on around here. Not a lot's happening around here. A little side note, I picked up a very nicely rebuilt carburetor from a guy locally to me that rebuilds carburetors. I actually, after hanging out there for a while, I'd consider him a friend. And that's a 3310-2. It's a 750 vacuum secondary, and that is going onto that Roadrunner this spring. So that's got a stock Carter 600 or 625 or something on it that isn't really performing the way it should because the accelerator pump went bad, and it's 4-speed car, so it could definitely take a little more, and that's just a stock 383, so it should take a 750 pretty good, so we'll see how that goes. But anyways, another project we have coming up that I'm going to try to film as much as possible is my friend Sean, pretty close by. He's got a channel, or a ratchet repair garage, I believe, and we're working on a deal. He's going to bring, or we're going to go pick up. Haven't figured that out yet. His 70 Coronet, his kind of high school car. So we're going to go get that, bring it back, and kind of give it a once over, and potentially gas tank, fuel lines, carburetor, um, just whatever it needs to get running again after 30 something years. So working a deal on working on that for him, and in exchange getting a different project vehicle for the channel. So I'll kind of leave it at that, leave it a little bit of a surprise. So hopefully we get that worked out again once we get a little bit of warmer weather, because I'd like to go get it out of the barn when it's 30s or 40 degree temperature rather than, again, -10. So anyways, I'm going to kind of leave it there. There's a couple little updates on the car and a couple little updates on other things going on. But I'm definitely looking forward to, again, working on that Coronet and getting some primer on it. But I'm going to leave it there, and I'll see you guys in the next video.